Glycolysis. Today we will be reviewing the steps of glycolysis. The steps of glycolysis can be remembered memorizing 4 words. These words are spit, bee, nar, wap. Although these mean nothing on their own, each letter stands for a specific step. The first part of glycolysis is the energy investment phase. This phase is represented by spit, bee. S stands for sugar. Glycolysis can use most macromolecules as fuel, but it usually uses glucose, which is a sugar. P stands for phosphate. Here, an ATP is used to add a phosphate to glucose, which forms glucose 6-phosphate. I stands for isomer. The glucose 6-phosphate is now turned into a fructose 6-phosphate, which is just an isomer. T stands for 2-phosphate. Here, another ATP is used to add another phosphate, making fructose 1,6-biphosphate. This step is especially important because this is a key regulator for glucose. Now we are done with the spit phase of glycolysis. We have used 2 ATP and gained nothing from the reaction. The next word to dissect is B. The B stands for break. The fuel is broken into 2 3-carbon sugars, called dihydroacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. The E stands for equilibrium. The only 3-carbon sugar used is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. However, since the 2 sugars are in equilibrium, as glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is used, dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted to it. We are now done with the B phase. We have used nothing else and formed 2-glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now we are also done with the energy investment phase. Now let's review the energy payoff phase. This can be described by NAR-WAP. The N stands for NADH. For each glucose, there are 2 NAD+ and 2 phosphate used. With this, there are 2 NADH and 2 protons formed. This phosphate makes the fuel a 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. The A stands for ATP. In this phase, 2 ATP is formed per glucose using the phosphate from the previous step. This loss of a phosphate forms a 3-phosphoglycerate. R stands for relocate. In this phase, the phosphate group is relocated on the sugar. This makes 2-phosphoglycerate. Now we are done with the NAR part of the energy payoff phase. We have used 2 NAD, 2 ATP, and 2 phosphate, and have formed 2 ATP, 2 NADH, and 2 H+. Now let's continue to WAP. W stands for water. In this stage, 2 H2O is formed per glycolysis. This forms phosphoenol pyruvate, aka PEP. A stands for ATP. Here another 2 ATP is formed per glucose. This forms pyruvate. P stands for pyruvate, which is the end product of glycolysis. Now we are done with the energy payoff phase. Glycolysis used 2 ADP and formed 2 ATP and 2 H2O. Now we are done with both main phases of glycolysis. The inputs have been glucose, 2 ATP, 2 NAD+, 4 ADP, and 2 phosphates. The products have been 2 pyruvate, 2 H2O, 4 ATP, 2 NADH, and 2 protons.